Hey guys, it's Hannah. I have a bunch of books that I received through giveaways that I've finished since the last time we talked. Most of these are recent releases, so I try to prioritize those over just other books that have been sent to me through giveaways or whatever. But when I was checking the mail today, I got 2 more. So I finished all of these, but I got 2 more today. So these are both from Goodreads. How to Survive in the Woods. This is not an advanced copy, so I will basically be putting it closer to the bottom of the stack. But it did just come out on March 10th. They sent me a hardcover, which is super nice, honestly. This was very expensive for them to send to me. However, it is published by HarperCollins, so they're a bigger company, and I'm sure they put it as a write-off or something. And then I have The Spirit and History of Baseball Superstitions, Rituals, and Curses, The Magical Game. And this is an advanced reader copy. This is coming out on June 2nd. So I will read this before it comes out in theory. And then there's a little info sheet, who to tag if you're posting on social media. They also have a hashtag, and it says, you know, tell us what you think, please leave us a review, which I'm totally fine with them asking with something like this. Like, this is just a piece of paper. I can ignore it or not. When you're messaging me via email or Goodreads, that's when things get weird. So this isn't necessarily the official cover. This is a advanced reader copy or a galley. This is through St. Martin's Press. They sent this to me also today. So anyways, this one, there were 50 copies available, and it looked like over 4,000 people wanted this. This one, hardcover, there were only 25 available, and there were like 7,800 entries, so my odds were much slimmer with this, but this is like a really nice book. I'm happy to have both of them, to be honest. Even though I'm not necessarily sporty, I would like baseball more if it was shorter, but that's neither here nor there. I do like Banana Ball a lot. If you have seen the Savannah Bananas or the Party Animals, those people, that I find to be very entertaining. But I also think part of it is there is a time limit on the game. It's not even just that they're dancing or doing their tricks and whatever. There's a time limit on the game. It's not just going on for forever. But let's get into what I have finished. This is a pretty chunky one. The Tainted Con. This is book 2 of the Soulbound saga. This was sent to me as an advanced reader copy. They did get it to me before it came out, which was in April of last year, or I think I got it actually in April. But because it's the second book, I had to read the first one first. So I listened to the first one on audio from the library, so for free. And then I tried to read this one. However, it is fairly lengthy. I had other books that I had checked out from the library that I was trying to finish, and I kind of waited too long to start this one. So I had a hard time once I got about 30 chapters in, or about, 180 pages in. I was having a hard time. So I set it aside and I came back to it. I am glad I finished it. It is nearly 600 pages long, 576 in this version. So it is quite lengthy. I would consider this to be like middle school, high school age level. It doesn't necessarily say HarperCollins Kids, or you could even say young adult, because there is a little bit of language in here, but it's not necessarily like adult. It is fantasy. It is fairly complex. There is a lot to remember as far as the different groups of people, but it's more of that it's just so long. I think this probably could have been split into 2 books, or, you know, cut off 3/4 of the way through and then the remainder of it go into a next book, because I do believe there is another book coming. When you're talking about 600-page books, I often feel like this is unnecessary. However, I did enjoy it. I do think it's good if you like dragons, if you're into that stuff. There's magic, whatever. It's pretty good. Wretch by Jeremy Wagner. This actually was really, really good. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to finish it before it came out, because it did just release. When did it release? Does it say it on the side? Nope. Dead Sky Publishing. January 27th. So I got it just a couple of weeks before it came out. January 27th doesn't sound right. Is that right? I don't know. But yeah. It says maybe this one was printed on January 27th. I want to say it was February though. Let me look it up for you. It is horror. Wretch. It is gory. It is, you know, nasty and all of that. February 24th is the published date. Sorry, I don't know. This must have been printed in January. It says on sale January 27th. Maybe they changed it after this was printed, to be honest. But horrors, thrillers, crime, we have in 3 to 4 point of views going on here, or storylines, depending on how you look at it. 4 maybe is the most accurate. It is lengthy as well, nearly 400 pages. Language is in there. This isn't for kids, which you should be able to tell by the cover. This is fairly graphic, and there are graphic scenes in here, so be aware of that as well if you're considering picking it up. This, according to the note from the author, was worked on in manuscript for a while, and then he was asked to work on Fireproof, Memoir of a Chief with Chief Curtis. Oh, Memoir of a Chef. Why did I think? Whatever. Curtis Duffy. So he was asked to work on that, which is one of his best sellers. So this kind of was set aside while he worked on that project, and then he came back to this and, you know, published it. So this is very interesting. It has a lot of elements, but you can tell that it was worked on a lot. Like, a lot of work went into this book. You can tell that it's been revised. I don't recall seeing any like spelling, punctuation errors, anything like that in here. It's very well edited, which I can't always say for books, but I really enjoyed this one. If you're into horror or graphic, gory, weird monsters, crime, thrillers, that stuff, this is a good one. If you're just into like crime thrillers but you're not really into the horror stuff, maybe pass, because it is a little graphic, but I thought it was really good. I like that one. The Boyfriend Launcher. This is very young adult. This one also came out in February, ages 12 and up. I don't know the exact day this one was published. This is February. Anyways, one thing I don't like about it is the chapters are set up like this: 23 days and officially counting. So it's a countdown from what, 24 days, which at first I thought was cute, right? The first 24 days, and it's basically a countdown. But some of these days are broken into multiple chapters, which I found to be super annoying. The premise is cute. It's basically a clean romance. It is clean. But the premise is they're high schoolers, and our main female character, Drew, likes a guy, and she doesn't want to go out with him because all of her previous little boyfriends have moved on from their relationship and got into a really solid relationship. So she's like, I launch boyfriends into being the best version of themselves for their next girlfriend. So she's basically scared to date this guy she likes because she likes him. But it all works out how it works out. No real spoilers for me. I don't like to do that. But it's fine, but points off for the way things are broken down. Also points taken away for other stuff that I just didn't love, such as they're high schoolers, they're 16, 17, whatever. And there are some parts of the book where their parents, friends, whatever, treat them very much as adults. They have a lot of responsibility. They can drive themselves wherever. They are taking care of things for their friends, family, whatever. But then at the same time, there's very juvenile stuff going on. For example, I will give this is a spoiler, I'm so sorry. They watch an episode of Sophia the First during their lunch hour, which, great and fine. I find that to be a really weird thing for high schoolers to do. Juniors, seniors, they're also very sporty, but if it was just, oh, we're watching a cartoon or a whatever, that's one thing. But a cartoon specifically targeted at preschoolers, very young children, that's where I'm like, okay, this is really juvenile. So there's that disparity between how they are acting and being treated at some parts of the book, and then there's other things like that example that I'm like, oh, these are we're not acting like even high schoolers. Or if it was a high school freshman or an 8th grader doing something like that, I would be like, oh, okay. But okay, we can drive ourselves around, be unaccompanied on a date at this other random place, didn't tell anybody where we're going because it's a surprise to us. We're surprising each other, but then we're doing stuff like that. So that I'm not into. This next one, though, I really, really liked. To Cage a Wild Bird. The author is Brooke Fast. This, I think, came out March 2nd or 3rd. Let's see if it says it. It just says 3/26. Okay. How am I supposed to keep up when all of these are launching when they're all back to back? Anyways, it was the first week of March. This one's really, really good. If you like dystopian romance, more fantasy stuff, there's some elements of magic. There's the Fae. This one's really, really good. However, there's gonna be a second book. So this is the first book, or I'm pretty sure I looked it up, and there's gonna be a second book because I was like, I don't love that ending. Why are you leaving me hanging like that? But this one's really, really good. I really enjoyed this. Couldn't put it down. Really, really good. Launched the same day. Yeah, so it was 3/3. The Voice in My Head Is God by our guy, 2 Chainz. So this is much shorter, under 200 pages. This is also a really good one. It was published by Black Privilege Publishing. Anyways, I really like this one. This is more, not self-help necessarily, but uplifting kind of a thing. He tells a lot about his life. He shares quite a bit. He does seem to be more private as far as, you know, his wife and his children. He doesn't talk about them as much, just a little bit, but his relationship with both of his parents, growing up, his friends, people he met early on in the industry, and how that shaped who he is today, but also who he is as a person, what he believes in, and, you know, making moves to be who you're supposed to be and listening so that you don't do the wrong thing. But this one's really good too. I really, really enjoyed it. Recommend as well, especially for something like a little shorter, just casual reading. I think that's really good. She Fell Away by Lenore Nash. This one was released on March 10th. So again, just released as well. I read this one all in one sitting as well. It's a little over 300 pages. I did enjoy it, but it is a little, you have to think about it. And honestly, if you like suspense psychological thrillers, this is really, really good. It's not like a casual one. I thought I had it all figured out about halfway through, just based on context clues and all that, but there's a twist. So even at the end, when I was getting really close to the end, I was like, oh, I've got it figured out now. And there still was some more stuff in there that I hadn't quite figured out. So I really enjoyed this. It's really good. I haven't read anything else from this author. I don't know what else she has written, if anything, but very entertaining. Highly recommend this one if you like suspense or psychological thrillers. This one's really good. I just finished this one this past weekend, One Word, Six Letters. This one comes out tomorrow, the 17th, March 17th. So this one, again, really short, or 213 pages, fairly short. Again, takes place in a high school. This is very much about, you know, learning lessons, coming into who you are as a person, all of that stuff. It's fully based on one word that is 6 letters long, that is a slur. But this word is not in the book at all. There are other slurs mentioned that are not in the book at all. So this is, you know, I would say safe for high schoolers, even middle schoolers to read, if you're ready to have that conversation about, okay, maybe what are these words that have been left out that we should not be calling people or referring to people as. Takes on sexuality, gender roles, all of that kind of stuff in here. So it's kind of heavy, but it's written in such a way that it's supposed to be kind of more uplifting. Our main characters become better versions of themselves by the end. We also have some characters in here that don't become better versions of themselves, but they are not the main characters. The main characters are on an upward tick. And then coming out next week, which is the 24th, the Underwild Book 2, Relic of Thieves. So it's called Relic of Thieves, and it's the Underwild Book 2 by Shanna. I don't know how to say her last name. The first book is called, what is it called? That's not it. Is it even in here? I'll just look. What is the Underwild Book 1 called? But anyways, Book 1, I did listen to on audio from the library, again for free, because I had won this book. And because it's pretty thick, she's just under 450 pages. It's loading. I wanted to make sure I finished the first one first so that I gave myself enough time to finish this one. I did read this one all in one day, so it's not, you know, that difficult. It's also meant for more like middle schoolers. First one's called River of Spirits. So there you go, River of Spirits, and then we have Relic of Thieves. But so this is fantasy. We have Greek mythology in here, and our main characters are like 12-year-olds. So it's very interesting. I think this is a really good book to read with your child if they're a little bit younger. It says ages 8 to 12, middle grade fiction. But if your child's maybe lower or maybe a little bit younger than 8, but they're very interested in reading, maybe if you read together, this is a really good one for that. Also, the chapters are broken up really well, so I think this is pretty easy for you to read 1 or 2 chapters at a time with your child if you choose to go that route. There are 46 chapters, so if you do 1 a day, that's a month and a half, but if you do 2 a day, that's 23. That's still 3 weeks. But it's bonding. But for like maybe an older child, I think children even over 12 would enjoy this. I really liked it. I thought it was really funny, interesting. The audio on the first one actually was fantastic. A lot of comedy in there, as far as how it's read and all of that. So I would even, you know, if you're on a long car trip, the audio's maybe a really good option. Safe for everyone in the car. It's entertaining. But lots of stuff we can learn in here too. And then again, on the learning to be better versions of ourselves, not stealing being number 1 and not lying being number 2 in here. But this one's super, super entertaining. Highly recommend this one. I gave this one 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. That's how much I liked it, even though it is for kids, and this was published by Simon & Schuster Kids. So again, really enjoyed this one. So a lot of these came out or are coming out this month in March. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them were March, 2 February, and then 1 was from last year. But I'm trying to keep the momentum going, and especially on these, if I'm receiving them before launch day or actual release day, I am trying to read them before then. In my stack right now, I don't have any that are coming out in April, but I have 2 for May, 2 for June, and then 1 for later on this year. It says fall. I think I looked it up and it's September. So it's early fall, so I'll go ahead and read it whenever it's a little bit closer, because I do like to get my reviews done ahead of time if I can, but I also don't like to read it like so far in advance that I'm gonna forget before release day. I don't necessarily post everything that I'm reading on Instagram, especially like giveaway things or advanced reader copies. If I really like it, I'll post like a little bit before release day or on release day, just with like quick thoughts. This is how many stars I'm giving this book. But anything that I receive through a giveaway or that is an advanced reader copy, I am posting a review on Goodreads, because that's where most of these are coming from. I'm working on cross-posting to Storygraph as far as my reviews, and I'm considering also posting to Amazon. However, Amazon is tricky because they don't automatically post your reviews. You have to wait for them to be approved, so it's kind of like a back and forth waiting game of, is Amazon going to post my review? And then are they getting mad at me because I'm reviewing things that I didn't purchase through Amazon? So sometimes when I'm doing advanced reading through like Booksprout or something like that, there are some other websites where you can sign up just for a specific author or whatever. They delay your review on Amazon, but they want you to primarily review on Amazon, or as far as the books that I've done. Some of them are fine with Goodreads instead, because Goodreads you can post immediately as long as there's not like weird activity on the book. Like if there's all of a sudden a bunch of 5-star reviews being submitted at the same time, or a bunch of 1-star reviews being submitted all at the same time, Goodreads just lets you do your thing. Marked as read, flag it. If it's prior to publication date, it's going to ask you where you got the book from, author, a couple of websites are on there, giveaway, whether that's through Goodreads or elsewhere through the publisher. If you're, an ARC reviewer or beta reader for a publishing company, it's going to ask you that. You can put your star rating, you can put which days you read it, and you can pop your review in there, and it's going to post it. If a book is flagged for like weird stuff happening, what was the word I'm looking for? I'm tired, guys. Weird stuff going on with that book, then they're not going to let you post anything. They're not going to let you mark it as read. They're not going to let you add it to your want to read. They're not going to let you do anything until that's kind of resolved. So they'll like pause all activity for that book for 24, 48 hours, whatever, and then they'll open it back up and you should be able to do your thing there. What else? I'm splitting how I'm reading this year, so when I'm home, I'm pretty much not doing audio unless it's just to finish up a book that I've gotten, or if I have to return something to the library in a short window of time. When I'm home, I'm doing physical or Kindle. The majority of that being ARC reading or giveaway reading. I'm not going through every single book I read with you guys, just because I do get 2 books a month through Reveal Book Box as a subscription, so I'm always having that come in. If I'm also receiving books that I got from Storygraph, Goodreads, I'm trading books with people at work, trying to just share and read other things, plus what's on my Kindle. It's just unrealistic. I've already read over 100 books this year, which is fine. I'm well on my way to meeting my goal. I've read ahead. That does include audio. But that being said, I'm splitting up how I'm reading this year. So the goal for each month, yeah, I'm at 113 of 400 books. I set my goal as 400. So I set up in my planner, I have when books are releasing. So if I want to read something prior to release date, I have that in there. If I've, gotten it for free, I want to try to do that. And then I have little set up, so it's like a whole month calendar, and there's a note section down the side, but then there's also, the calendar blocks. So every month some of those are empty, right? So in those empty blocks, there are 6 lines for each block. So I have audio, Kindle, and physical blocks every single month. I have at least those 3. So then that's 6 slots for each. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for as far as a goal for each month. 6 Kindle, 6 physical, and 6 audiobooks. Obviously, if I'm listening to audiobooks at work or when I'm out on my walk or whatever, I'm gonna listen to way more than 6 audiobooks a month. It's just how it is. Physical, I've done 6 for this month. Kindle, I think I've only done 1 for this month. So next weekend, when I'm home, I've read all of my arcs that are releasing this month, so I can focus more on my Kindle books and just hanging out. I'll probably go down to the pool, and I take my Kindle when I go down there. So kind of doing that, ebooks that way. Or, if I'm doing a library book, I just read it on my phone. But doing that when I'm at home, audio while I'm at work, and then I'm kind of breaking up kind of what I'm reading as well, kind of setting myself a goal for 6 of each type per month. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's not a big deal, but that's kind of what I'm aiming for, to also have a lot of variety in what I'm reading, so I'm not just doing audio, and then I'm neglecting all of these physical books I have that are just waiting to be read. In addition to that, I'm trying to do better about listing things on Pango Books or eBay if appropriate. I'm not selling any advanced reader copies. I think that's kind of icky to do because I receive them for free. It's also not the finalized version of the book, so there's also that. I know some people collect them. I have decided that it is okay to add them to my mini library at work after release day. So if the book is already out, I feel like it's fine to do that. There's just a few of my coworkers that are even interested in stopping by my little library in my office. So I am okay with rotating in 1 or 2, maybe 3 advanced reader copies at a time in there, just to add some variety. One of my coworkers actually added some books to it as well, so we have a little bit more variety in there. I try to have a little bit of everything. Obviously it needs to be work appropriate, so any terrible language or super gory horror stuff, they need to ask me if they want it, and if they want something specific and I can get it for them, that's fine. It sounds like this thunderstorm is back, so I'm going to get out of here, and I'm waiting for more packages to be delivered, to be completely honest. So I'm hoping that the Amazon guy comes soon and doesn't get soaking wet. But I will see you guys later with some more books. Hopefully I can keep this momentum going, but we'll see. Bye.